Hello, everyone. My name is Natalia, and I'm Cloud Solution Architect from Microsoft. I work with the partners to help them to build applications for the teams. And today I want to tell you how to prepare and publish your application to the team store. So let's start from the beginning. Here you see the steps which will help you to build your application. So the first step is planning your app. Here you identify the user scenarios. You select which components you will use for your application, for example, bot, tab, messaging extension, meeting extension, how you will use adaptive cards. After that, you start to design your application using our guidelines. After that, you start to code, and you may use a Microsoft Graph if you want to work with the Microsoft 365 data from your application. And when your application is ready, you may consider what to do next. So it can be two options. So the first, you can install application to the organizational catalog. For example, it can be your organizational catalog if your organization wants to use this application, or it can be customer organizational catalog. So you create the application for specific customer, and after that, when application is ready, you just send the app manifest to him. And another option is public your application to the team store. So with the publishing application to this team store, you make it discoverable for all users of Microsoft Teams across the globe. So that's a great opportunity for you to engage new customers, to make them familiar with your applications. And now we have a monetization in Team Store and to have money, to make money as well. So today we'll focus on this part, on publishing your application. Here in this article, you see that for each step, you have the links get started, so where you can read a lot of documentation regarding each step. And let's go to the publish your application. On this page, you see steps which are required to submit the application to the store, and I will describe in more details about each of them. So when you work with the Teams client, on the left side, you will see the apps menu. That is Teams store. So here you can explore apps. What are, for example, popular across Teams, top pick. You can filter them for categories. So when you open the application, you will see the description of this application, what its application about, which component this application contains, supported languages, and you can see the screenshots of the application to understand the main idea of the app. And after that, you can install it and start to use. That's the first place in Teams client. And the second place where the app will appear after publication, that's the app source. It's our commercial marketplace where all applications for M365, Power Platform, Dynamic, and our commercial offers will appear. For example, I will show you application from one of our partner, Geekbot. There's application for Teams, as you can see, and the same app description and screenshots. From here, you can see that Geekbot application will help developers with the stand-ups meeting and to work with the geographically distributed teams. So let's go back to the documentation, and let's go step by step with all of the process. So the first, review the store guidelines. In my point of view, the most important part of building application, you need to review the store guidelines, not when your app is ready and you want to submit it for publication, but in the beginning, because our store guidelines fully packed on app functionality. And if your app doesn't fit them, your application may not pass the validation. And I really recommend you to start building your process from reviewing these store guidelines, because if you start to build your application within these rules, it will help you to don't change your code, don't change a lot in user experience of your application during the app validation process. So let's see what is this guideline about. And here, that's a part, distribute your application and publish to the team store. So that's the main articles which will help you to do the publication, which will help you to prepare your application in the best way. If we go a little bit back to the overview page, you will see absolutely the same process. Publication process contains of several steps. So the first, it's review the team store guidelines. The second, you need to prepare your partner account if you don't have it. Third step, it's prepare your store submission. After the submission process and resolve issues during the validation process. And after that, when application is published, you can update this. We will also cover this topic. So let's go back to the store validation guidelines and what it's about. So you see that it's very big article. So let's go through these rules, and I will try to focus on the rules which are very popular based on my experience, and you will see how this article can help you. So first of all, there are two type of rules. It's mandatory fix and suggested fix. So the first mandatory fix means that you need to fix issue if your application doesn't follow these rules, this mandatory rule. In this case, the app validation process will be blocked. And the second one is suggested fix. It means that the rule is recommended for better user experience, but it's not mandatory. So it will not block you from publication in Team Store. So let's see which rules are for different parts of your application. So the first, it's we can start from app name. For example, app name shouldn't contain specific words. It shouldn't contain the names of our products. And so here you can see that, of course, we will not read all of these. So the next, for example, general functionality and performance. So first of all, your application, if you go to this section, compatibility, it should work on different devices. It means that your application should work on the desktop client, on the web client, and in Teams mobile client. And especially it's relevant for tabs. So if your tab it's not adapted or it's not supported on mobile version of Teams client, it can be blocker for the app validation. The next important part is launching external functionality. That's one of the main issues during the validation process. It's when application forwards user to external site. For example, your bot sends private message, and here's only one button. See detailed information, and after user clicks button, he will be forwarded to the external site and see detailed information about any items. One of the core scenario of the application, and after clicking the button, it will forward user to external resource, and all main activity will happen outside of the Teams. It won't be good. So it won't be good for the user interface, and it can be a blocker for the app validation. So you see that's a mandatory fix as well. And of course, if some configuration of your app should be done externally, initial configuration, it should not be blocker. But if for main scenario you forward users outside, it's better to use, for example, task module and show the external page in pop-up window. So let's go to the next part, app package and store listening, app manifest. You can explore what should be added to the app manifest, app icons, that we should have two icons, one colored with 192 pixels, and we should have the small icon that should be transparent, how app description should be, and here you see advices, what do, what doesn't do, screenshots for your applications, because as your application will be added for the public marketplace, of course, there should be screenshots that will show the main functionality of your application. If you want to build transactable offer, so you want to monetize your application to the Team Store, there are also requirements for this kind of applications. And let's go a little bit through the app components. For example, tabs. So for each, when you open each section, tabs, bots, here you see the information with the green color with the link to design guidelines. If I click on this, you can see our recommendation how to build application, how the user interface should look like. So before building app, please review this as well. And we have a toolkit for designers to make the application more within Teams user experience. Just imagine that your application is published to the Team Store. A lot of users, so millions of Teams users, will be able to find it. And they may not be aware about your application and how to register in your application, how to become a customer. So for these users, you need to provide guideline, or maybe it will be linked to create a new account, or maybe if they need to call you, maybe the registration process is more complicated. It should be clear from the first run user experience. So that's why I really recommend you to think about app experience for users who are not aware about the application. Take a time and think, okay, today I will be the user who is not aware about what this app is about. I will check if I can go through all process, if it's clear for me how to register in the application, how to configure it, how to use it. The first run experience is highly important. So the next part is navigation in your tab. Navigation should not be like we have in Teams client. As you can see on the screenshots, what is allowed, what is not allowed. So please review this because this screenshot really helps a lot. So a little bit about the usability. So what is happening really very often that partners can just embed the total website in Teams. And of course, it will be header, footer, complicated menu, navigation, and so on. In this case, we recommend to show only focused content, to remove header, footer, to don't embed the full site experience. Or if you have your own SaaS and there's a lot of navigation, to don't embed the full experience. It should be some parts of the interface should be removed. Here you can see from usability, a part of the documentation, what is fine, what is not. So if we go to bots, I want to focus on welcome commands. So when bot is installed for user, it will be better if he send a welcome message. So hello, I'm a bot. I will do the following, and of course it's proactive. That's mandatory because users should know what bot will send. Here from the screen, you can see that there's a welcome message and the screenshot without a welcome message, and user won't be aware of what we'll do. What is also important for bots, it's bots message spamming. So please avoid bot to send a lot of notifications to the users. And if bot do it very frequently, maybe it's better to send notification one digest per day or per week. So please consider this because if your bot will spam user, of course, it will be the blocker for the validation as well. So the other parts, you see the messaging extension. So for each component, there are specific rules. So it depends on what is in your application. You can read this part. If your application makes Microsoft Graph calls, you need to mark it as a publisher verified. Here, there's instruction how to do this. And after that, on the app consent screen, it will be blue sign that publisher is verified. To make publisher verification, you need to go to the app registration and add this information to their specific section, publisher verification. And here you need to add your MPN ID. Everything will be described in this article. Please don't forget about this if you make calls with Microsoft Graph. So the second step is publisher attestation. I will take about this a little bit later. After you review all of these validation guidelines and you check that your application follow our guidelines, you can go to the next step. And of course, as you can see, a lot of these guidelines, only you can check them because it's fully related to your application functionality. But some of these rules you can check with our tools. Let me show you. I hope that you're familiar with the developer portal, which will help you to create the app manifest. And here, if you go to the publish section, publish to the store, you will see warnings, errors, and what you need to fix. So right from here, we can see that outline icon is not transparent. So I need to change this. And the short name should not contain the Microsoft or any Microsoft product. So let me check. I can go to the basic information. If I go to the basic information about my application, I see that the name contains Teams. So I need to delete this. And I save it. And after that, this will disappear. Also, because we are editing app manifest, please don't forget to add the Microsoft Partner Network ID, MPN ID, to your app manifest. We will create the account in Microsoft Partner Network on the next step, but after that, it should be added to the app manifest. So here, that's a tool how you can check the application. So you see that this warning disappeared because we changed the title of our application. The next step is create the Partner Center account. So here, you just easily in the documentation go step by step. So let's click on this, create a Partner Center developer account. If you already are registered in Microsoft Partner Network, you only should activate the program. I will show you how to do this. If you're not registered, you can just go through our documentation. How do I create a Partner Center account? And if you are new to Partner Center and don't have the Microsoft Network account, create the account using the Partner Center enrollment page. Let's do this. We opened another article, create an account using the Partner Center enrollment page, and there's a link to Partner Center enrollment page. So here I can provide my work email. After I added my email, I can click continue. So there's a form which I need to fill out about the company, about address, publisher information, contact information, and so on. And after that, after I fill out forms, immediately I will have access to the Partner Center. And after that, my business account will be validated for approximately 1 week or maybe earlier. So our validation team will check the information about the company, that they may ask to confirm that I'm an employee or the company belongs to me. And after that, all functionality of Partner Center will be available. So there's experience of Partner Center. And to be able to submit the application to the store, here in Marketplace Offers, you should have part Office Store, and you should be able to create the new Teams app. That's a new experience of Partner Center. And with old experience, you will have, instead of Marketplace, you will have Office Store on the left side. And if you click Overview, from here, you will be able to create the Teams app. So what to do if you don't see this Office Store or you don't see this button, create a new app? In this case, you need to go to the settings. Go to the programs. In programs, you need to check that Office Store program is enabled, so you're registered in it. So after you register, the Office Store will be added in your menu, and you will be added to create the new Teams application. So please don't forget about this, because for some partners who usually create application for Azure, and that's the first Teams application for them, please check this. So what next? So let's go back to the documentation. Let's go to the steps. We reviewed the Teams Store guidelines. We create the Partner Center account, and now let's prepare the store submission. So here, so first, validate your app package. So as I've shown you, on developer portal, we have a tool, Microsoft Teams App Validation Tool. It can help you to fix the common issues. So after that, you need to prepare the document for the validation team, because when you submit the application to the Partner Center, the validation team will review your application. They will test your application. That's why you need to provide for them credentials. If there's a different experience for admin and for regular user, you can provide both credentials. And it's really better to create a good document for them, because the validation process can take time. And they should be able to read your documentation and understand your scenario, and don't ask you again, so what is the scenario, how it should work. So everything should be explained. So they will be the testers of your application. So please make the instruction for them as clear as possible and describe all possible scenarios of your application, because it will help a lot to decrease the duration of the validation process. If you have a video instruction, it will be also great if you add this. And as I told you in the beginning, that your application will appear in 2 places, in Teams Store and in App Source. In App Source, and it's like 2 separate pages, you need to prepare information, but usually it's copy paste. App title, app description should be the same, and you need to provide screenshots, so everything is described here. You can create video for the validation team to help them to test the application, and you can create the video for your customers to show them how the application works. So the next article and the next step is submit your application. Teams Store step-by-step submission guide. First of all, you need to sign in Partner Center, and all submission will happen there. So let's do it together. So let's go to the Office Store and create the new app. We need to select Office Store, new offer, Teams app. and for example, HR. So let's do it step by step. So there's a page where you need to submit all information about your application. So in the beginning, you need to select if your application is transactable or not. If yes, if you want to monetize your application through the team store, before publishing the application by itself, you need to publish the transactable offer. After that, you will have the offer ID, and you will add this offer ID to the app manifest. So your submission process will contain 2 steps. If you are not going to monetize your application, you just simply select no, and that's all. So let's save it. Let's go to the next step. After that, we can upload package. So package, it's our app manifest. So you see the application is uploading, and application will be validated once again. So if the icons are fine, if the title is fine, it will be the same validation as we had in on developer portal. So if for some reason you forget to check your application is in the developer portal, you will see errors and warnings here. So our application is uploaded and everything is fine. So let's go to the next step. Properties. Here you can select the industry and category for your application. For example, HR, accounting and finance, collaboration, up to 3 categories. And industry, so who are your customers, from which industries? But in comparison with the category, industries are not mandatory, because you may create the application, for example, like service desk or for HR recruitment, which is relevant for any industry, for any customer. So that's why it's not needed to select the industry. And support document link, that's a link which your customer will use if they have any issues with your application. For example, they will be able to open a support ticket and something like this. So let's save. So let's go to the marketplace listing. So here we need to add languages which are supported in our application. So let's select, for example, English. So after you added languages that are supported in your application, for each languages, you need to add app description. For example, if I add additional language, for example, Croatian, for each of these, I have the separate listing in marketplace. So let's go to the English language and see what we should add. So there's information about application. And here you can use Markdown. You can add description from your app manifest. It should be the same. So you can use, summaries, very short description that summarize the main idea of your application, and search keywords how the app can be found in the App Store. Chapter 3. After that, you need to add the icon for your application, and you need to add the screenshot. Here you see the requirements, the size, the required size of the icon. And if you have video instruction for users on YouTube or Vimeo, you can add the link here. So let's go back. So here, if you have specific date when your application should appear in the store, you can provide this date right here. But if not, you can just skip this section and the application will appear in the team store and on marketplace when it will pass the validation, and a validation team will tell you that everything is fine. Additional certification information. So there's information for validation team. For example, instruction, how to test your application. Please prepare it, make it more clear, because it will really impact on the duration of the validation process. And after that, you can edit here as a PDF file. So the next, it's what I want to focus, it's app compliance. here we have two programs. So the first, it's publisher attestation. So publisher attestation, it's when you fill out information about your app, how you work with data, where data is stored, if you use any personal data in your application. So you do self-assessment of your team's app to add more transparency for your application and increase trust from the customer side. And the Microsoft 365 certification, that's the next step. It's when your application it's already published. Microsoft can check that your application follow all security guidelines, and after that, your application will be marked as Microsoft 365 certified. But for the first validation process, for the publication, you needed to submit the publisher attestation, and M365 certifications, it's on your wish. So it's, of course, includes the trust to your application, but it's up to you. So let's see what it's publisher attestation. I want to start publisher attestation, and there are questions. Enter link to your company website, data handling, security. Do you perform annual penetration testing on the app? Do you have a policy that governs your service level agreement for applying patches? So you see that there's a lot of questions on different topics. It's about security standards, privacy, identities. You need to fill out this information. And I want to show you where and how customer can check it. So the first place, it's Team Store. When you find the application, in the app description, in the app page, you will see this sign, publisher attested. It means that partner provided information regarding all of these questions. That's the first place. And the second place is Teams admin portal. So let's go to the Teams admin portal. Here in Manage Apps, you can explore, so tenant admin can explore all applications that are available in the store. And for example, for the application that we bought, so you see that a certification publisher attestation, and there's a link which tenant admin can open. And here's all information that partner provided. So data handling, security, compliance, privacy, identity, all the same sections. And tenant admin can check application before installation. So let's go back to the partner center. So after that, you can go to the manage product name and reserve more names to use in another language or to change the product's name. So after that, when you fill out all of these pages, the publisher, attestation, edit screenshots, videos, instruction for the validation team, and everything is ready. After that, you can go to the product overview page or any other page and click review and publish. After that, you will see the status of each steps, what is completed, what is uncompleted. So when everything is completed, your application is ready to publish. Here you will be asked to provide instruction, test account, license keys for the validation team as well. You remember that we already provided the document with a scenario, but here there's a list of credentials. And after that, the publish button will be available. And after you click this button, your application will be submitted for the validation for Team Store. So what's next? So usually your application will not pass the validation process from the beginning. With a high probability, the first message that you will receive, it will be the message from Microsoft Partner Center that your application failed the validation. That's normal, that's usually happen. And in addition, we have a specific team which will test your application with your credentials, which will check if your application follow our guidelines. Here, let's go back to the submission process. So there's the next step, resolve issues if the store submission fails. How this process looks like. The validation team will use credentials that you provide, will use the instruction to test your application, and they will check how you follow validation guidelines. And if they find that something wrong, that you need to fix this, they will send you the list of issues, what should be fixed. For example, you have a notification bot, and the notification bot sends information from the external system about some events. And your bot send only the message, you have new event, and the button to the external system. Of course, it will not follow the policy about forwarding user to external side, because it means that for core functionalities of your bot, user will be forwarded to external side. In this case, validation team may ask you to add detailed information about the event on the adaptive card the bot will be sent, and probably in most part of cases, user won't be needed to go outside of the teams. So the main idea is to little bit change up functionality to make users stay in teams. And all other issues are related to the validation rules. So that's why, as I tell you in the beginning, it's one of the important part of building your application. They will not do the code review, but the app should be, the user experience should be with our guidelines. So when they send you the list of these issues, you will have time. There's no SLA when, your submission process will expire. You will have time to fix this, but please devote time for this validation process, because sometimes it can happen that partner developed all the application, submitted, and that's fine, we are ready to work on another project. But in reality, the validation team can send, the list of issues, and your developers should continue to work on it, should change it. And of course, it takes time. And if they are on another project, won't be able to spend enough time to fix these issues quickly. Of course, it impacts on the full duration of the validation process. Usually, duration of validation process is 1 month, but it can be longer, depends on the complexity of your application, can be up to 2 months. But as I told you, it also depends on you, how you prepare the instruction, and it depends how quickly you will fix these issues. So after that, when everything is ready, when you fixed all the issues, validation team approves your application for the publication to the store. And a couple of business days, it will appear in the app source and in team store. So, and your customers and all customers across the globe will be able to see your application. So, and after that, you can, if it's needed, update your app. For example, in the beginning, your application contains only bot, but you decided to add a tab, or you decided to add messaging extension, you decided to add app description. So you have the version update, as usually you may have with the application. In this case, we have process to work to maintain your published application. So if you have updates in your app manifest, for example, you added new component, you changed the description. In this case, you need to resubmit your application once again. So the all process will start from the beginning. You open the partner center, you upload the app manifest, and validation team will review your application. Of course, usually this process takes very short time. It can be a week, a couple of weeks, of course, depends on the component. But with the small changes, the duration of the validation process is really very small, because validation team is familiar with your application. The most part of your application was validated, so that's why don't afraid of it. Please don't change the ID of your application. You need to update the version in app manifest. You need to update the version of your app manifest, and in this case, after the new version of your application will be submitted to the store, and it will be published, all your customers will get notification that the app was updated, and they will be able to have the new version of the app. That's one of the advantage of using and publishing application to the team store, because in this case you can make changes once and submit it for the publication, and all customers will get it. In case if you don't use team store and you just send your application to each customer, in case if you need to make any changes, you will be needed to send updated app manifest to each of them. So that's what about I wanted to tell you. So please read all of these guidelines, because that's key to successful publication in the store. So, and I wish you good luck in the building your application, and see your app in the team store. So thank you so much. Bye-bye.